Hi and welcome back to the channel and back to Neverwinter. I received a special request just to have a look at my tank build. So I'm going to quickly go through my character sheet, my boons, companions, mounts, and probably powers last. And just show what I have and what I'm planning, kind of. What I will say is at the end of January there are some changes coming in mod 20, and what those will do is they will get rid of bonding runestones. They'll improve the impact of striker companions, but also kind of reduce the impact of augment companions. But what they'll also do is they'll increase the companion bolster, which should increase what you get from both in the long term, but in the short term reduce what you get. I'll kind of explain a little bit about that whenever we get to companions, okay? So first we're going to look at companion sheet. Now typically what you want to be doing is putting into constitution and strength. Constitution being something that gives you your hit points, which is one of the key elements to every tank, and strength obviously giving you your stamina regen. Physical damage bonus as well, but to be honest, the amount of damage you do as a tank is not really the main focus, though it is useful for your DPS format. Um, so for different dungeons, you need different amounts of HP. Sorry, not strength. Um, for example, in I think it's IC, you need over 1,000,000 hit points. So I'm not really there at the moment, but I'm all right in IC. I do a decent job. I'm still collecting bits and pieces in IC to get where I need to go. You'll see here my power is 132,000, which needs to go up a little bit. Armor pen 78, which needs to go up a little bit. Defense is 98, which needs to go down a little bit. Crit, they're all in the 80s. 92,000 deflect, 86,000 combat advantage, which isn't enough to be honest. And awareness 70,000 doesn't really even matter at the moment. Hopefully they'll improve the significance of awareness. It's not. It's kind of buggy. It doesn't really do very much. It's supposed to protect you against combat advantage, but it doesn't really. So now, typically for things like Tom, IC, and Zariel challenge, they all require a certain stat cap. So it's 80,000 for Tom, 85,000 for IC, and 90,000 for Zariel's challenge. So if you were a DPS, you'd need 80, 85, or 90 in armor pen. In defense, crit strike, accuracy. But combat advantage, you'd need 140,000, and power at the moment is uncapped, so you can kind of just have at it. But your stats decrease after I think it's the amount of extra damage you get from power starts to decrease after I think it's 190, 200,000, something like that. So you want to start putting into crit severity at that point, you know. As a tank, you need everything. So you need decent amount of power. You need about 80 to 90,000 armor pen. Same as defense, same as crit strike, same as crit avoidance, same as accuracy, same as deflect, and combat advantage you need as high as possible as well. So as high as possible towards the 140,000 mark as you can. Deflect probably is the least important of your defensive stats. Your main focus should obviously be defense and your crit avoidance. I'm kind of well capped on all three. I'm over capped on defense. I'm a little under on crit avoidance because I've been changing some things around and just trying to prepare myself for future things to come. Otherwise, my stats pretty routine. So now we'll look at boons. So the boons that I've picked, all in power at the moment, and all HP at the moment. If I can ever hover over this HP one, there we go. I also have got the Disenchanting Aura, which increases control resistance, which is very useful because you don't want to be controlled as a tank. Companion Influence, which is going to change obviously, increasing my movement speed so that I can stay ahead of people because the tank should always be going first. And at the moment I just have 5 points here in armor penetration just to boost that up a little bit. I also have second wind, so that increases stamina regen, and I have welcome blessings to increase the incoming heal bonus because if you're a healer and you're healing 1,000,000 hit points, it's not exactly very easy. At least my healers always tell me that. Focused retaliation then is kind of the go-to at the moment for these. Bloodlust is okay as well, but it's not as good. And that's bulwark is it's kind of good as well. But again, focused retaliation is the go-to. I will look at companions. Oh, hold on before you go there. Guild Stronghold. You want the power bonus. If you're lower on any of the rest of them, really, you can always just pick those. Uh, Defense, incoming healing isn't really chosen. Usually you go with hit points. And hit points are, again, one of the biggest things with a tank. You definitely need as much as possible. Utility, you can kind of go with the mount speed bonus, but the revive sickness is obviously one that's very useful. So it is. You definitely do be wanting this because if you die in combat, you want to make sure that you don't have as much revive sickness as you would normally. So that reduces that. So look at companions. We'll look at companion bonuses first because it's probably the easiest to go through. Moonshade Druid's Wisdom is very useful. 16,000 hit points and crit avoidance. I'll skip that one for the minute. Dragon's Insight, 8,000 hit points plus 3% healing bonus. It's very useful as well. Divine Insight, 16,000 hit points, 2,000 crit avoid, and Zayi's Insight, which is 32,000 hit points. They're all very useful. For the offense slot, it's really up to the player. So 60, I chose the Crystal Golem's Presence because of the power bonus. But you might want to go with one of the other golems that give accuracy or armor pen, crit strike, or whatever. There's a bunch of offensive ones you can put in here with 16,000 hit points and 2,000 of another stat. So really, this is your own choice. I could end up switching this sooner or later as well. So we're going to the summoned one. So obviously you want an augment, and with tanks, it kind of doesn't really matter which one you go for. Now I've gone for the red ion stone because it kind of goes with my character. So it does. So I've called it the Philosopher's Stone, and obviously this is Major Alex Armstrong, so it kind of goes with the franchise. It's quite nice. But it gives you a bonus to hit points, deflect, and defense. As you've seen, my defense is pretty well capped though, so I might actually change this for a different companion, which is what I was thinking about. One of the other ion stones that binds to that I can use as a philosopher's stone instead. I use it mostly because it's because it goes with the character basically. Now at the moment you want your characters that you're getting the abilities off of to be legendary. This is going to be increased to mythic when the new changes come out. You also want as many in a group as possible, so the mystical bonus, that's where my red ion stone is coming from here, so you want that to be 15%, and when the changes come then that's gonna greatly improve. The chicken is also a pretty strong companion, kinda. There's a lot of dungeons where you shouldn't be. If you're doing dungeons, there's a lot of dungeons where you should not be using a chicken or a Zuna. Because they kill things, and a lot of the dungeons require you not to kill things, if that makes sense. Or, they get in the way against some bosses of some tanks as well. It's not really their fault. It's more kind of bugginess. Uh, so yeah, like if you're doing Valindra's Tower or Malabogs or any of those, then yeah, the chicken is pretty good. Like, but if you're doing Cradle, you don't want to have a chicken. If you have a chicken, people are going to hate you because it's going to kill the skull. It's going to kill the 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 gelatinous cube as well. So yeah, so this was a good companion. This is my utility companion. It's the one that gives us 32,000 hit points. This is the Ion Stone, obviously. This is the Angel, which gives the 2,000 crit avoid, 16,000 HP. This is the Moonshay, which gives the other 16,000 and 2,000 crit avoid. And then obviously the Crystal Golem, which gives you the power and the 16,000. So then you look at your equipment. So you have your rank 15 bonding runestones, which at the moment you will need, but obviously come the update, these are going to be turned in for astral diamonds or an item. Then you have your companion equipment. This needs to be changed, but it's difficult to get what you want out of these. I have this one here for the accuracy and the combat advantage to try and cap those two, and this one for the crit avoid and the deflection. This one will be changed out as soon as I get the one that I'm looking for, which seems impossible. I want to get a crit avoid and combat advantage one, and then replace this one for one that has higher armor pen and crit strike. It's very difficult to get the caps that you want. As far as the rune stones go, you don't necessarily need empowered or arcanes or any specific type. What you need to do is you need to put ones in that will help you reach your target. So I haven't needed that at the moment, so I've just been using empowereds and arcanes. The empowereds are ones I actually had on my warlock, so he's actually runestoneless at the moment, the poor guy. But what can you do? Now we go on to mounts. So this is one of the newest updates. They've included a mount bolster. Equip powers on pretty much all mounts now once they get up over legendary. They've included mount collars, which as you can see I've not really been focusing on. I've not really been lucky with actually. So yeah. So mount power, generally the best one is definitely tunnel vision. If you don't have the giant toad one. If you have the giant toad's single target ability, it trumps it. But tunnel vision is your best bet if you don't, and it's very common. A lot of mounts have it. Arcane Siege Volley, I kind of like that one. I got that one off of my I have a polar bear that I got recently. It's quite nice. Otherwise, the Tyrannosaurus Rexum is kind of decent because it supplies a debuff and it consumes a minion. But yeah, generally tunnel vision, all the way tunnel vision. On this one, for a tank, you want to pick Stalwart, so you'll need the Triceratops for that one. Is my Triceratops here? No, I've just got a bunch of horses in the Valette. Just to show you. So you don't even need to get the legendary one. You could just get the purple one and upgrade it to mythic then. So the Triceratops there. There's the polar bear, by the way. Polar siege bear. So that's where you get Stalwart for. That gives you the 60,000 maximum hit points. If you're DPS or something else, you know, you got your power armor, penetration, defense, I guess. You know, there's a lot of different stuff. But Stalwart, 60,000 hit points, 5,625 combined rating. The way combined rating works at the moment, by the way, is that that goes into all of your stats. So that's plus 5,625 armor pen, plus 5,625 crit strike, defense, you name it, 5,625 extra. Uh, the way it works as well is that, let's say it's my mount ability, my tunnel vision, and let's say my stalwart, they come off of this horse here. So the higher the rank of this horse, the higher the improvement to tunnel vision, and the higher the improvement to the ability. Now, also, it is affected by your bolster. So the higher your bolster, the higher your tunnel vision damage, and the higher your stalwart hit points on your combined rating. The way that bolster works is the top 10 companions you or not companions, mounts you have, the higher the bonus. So you get, I think it's 1% for a green, 2% for a blue, 3% for a purple, 5% for a legendary, and 10% for a mythic. So all 5 of these is automatically 50%. So then you have another 10, so 60, another 10, 70, another 10, 80, another 10, 90, and the last 10 to make 100%. All the rest of them don't really matter, you know. So you can just get to the 100% and that'll be fine, and that's all you actually need. As far as mount abilities, Champion's Return, heal over time, and stamina. Whenever you're reduced to 50% hit points. I feel that comes in quite useful whenever you get dropped by big hits in higher level dungeons. It gives you a heal over time and it helps you increase your stamina gain, which is important. Gladiator's Guile, I have 3 of those to increase my movement speed, as well as that I regain stamina very, very fast. So it's quite handy. And then Wanderer's Fortune, because you know you need bonus rewards all the time. So it's quite nice to get like little drops here and there for refinement points and stuff. Collars, stamina gain. That's the only one I have at the moment. I haven't really focused on them because you know they're handy, but they're not the most handy thing. They're something that I will be working on shortly. Again, probably should be the last thing on your mind, the collars. Especially upgrading them, because the cost to upgrading a collar is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. Look at this. Requires so much to gain a couple of percent. It's like market potency rank 6s, 5 of them. Requires like 750 of that. 150 shards of empowerment and 50 of these. I mean, it's insane. So it is. Like you're better off even just getting one of them and just leaving it there and holding on to it. Probably something I should look at again. But again, the most important thing is that I have the stamina regen one, because you need that. That's really really critical as a tank. I actually forgot I needed to go into my gear. So I have the Fiend Forged Sale at the moment. I have a Bark Hide. It's a pretty handy one. Again, it's less stats than the Fiend one, but the ability is kind of useful. So I take less damage for 10 seconds whenever I take big hits. So damage mitigation is obviously very useful. As you can see there as well, I've Dragon Hordes, just basic ones, and then I've Radiance and Elven Battle enchantment. The Elven Battle is, I feel, the best one for a tank. Stamina regen is critical, and it also it increases your control resist, which is quite good. I do need to work on my Radiance as well. It hasn't really been a high priority yet because there's other things that you need to focus on. So I have the Blessed weapons, Fiendforged Gauntlet, sorry, Fiendforged Greaves. We'll go over here first. Infernal Forged War Trousers and the shirt. Mirror Plated Belt, Ring of the Overwhelmed +5, Ring of the Condemned +5, and Jezira's Tattered Mantle. It's you don't need to have a set. Most of the set bonuses uh, for the neck, waist, and artifact, they're not really that good, to be honest. So you don't really need to worry about that. The reason why I went for this one is the accuracy and the combat advantage are kind of nice, so they are. Um, it has +5 con, and plus 37,000 hit points. That's good. And the reason I went for this is then an extra 2 con, an extra 2 strength, and that those two stats are the only reason why. Awareness, defense, as you saw, I don't really need them, to be honest. But if I change out my companion, maybe I will. Then we have the storyteller books. I went with the Darkened, the Frozen, and the Flayed one. The reason why is because that's the wrong button. I think I have to click into it, don't I? Yeah. The reason is because it increases power by 500 and maximum hit points by 5,000. The values are increased for every journal that is equipped. So that's kind of a big one, so it is. Yeah, the increase to ability attributes and the other one, it's not too useful, so that's why I don't have the set of that. Yeah, I mean, that whole thing about the 5,000 hit points, that's the key really there. It works out very, very well for your character. So yeah, that's it. Also, Halaster's Blast Scepter gives you 6,000 hit points, gives you power, gives you crit strike. So yeah, so and that's what is helping me get to my 960,000 hit points and decent all-round stats. You know, you have your control bonus, all this stuff here as well. I'll just slowly show you. Glory bonus, obviously not very useful anymore unless you're PvPing a lot. Companion influence, that's going to need to change. I will say as well, sorry, just on insignia, at the moment what I have here is more kind of placeholders. It's not something I've been heavily working on, but generally for your insignias, you want to be putting ones that have HP on them. I have a few in there that will increase companion influence, the dominance, but those will have to go because they're obviously being changed. So you want basically fortitudes or Gons even are quite good, but they give a lower amount of HP return than the others. And obviously prosperity are the other good HP ones. So we go into powers now, and we have Brazen Slash, gives you restoration. You can pick between that or Tide of Iron if you're having trouble with threat, because that gives you more threat, which is always handy. Threatening Rush is the other one that I use because it increases threat as well. So, and it charges towards the target. So if you're far away, that's kind of a good one. Shield Throw is a must, as well as Anvil of Doom is very, very useful, and you'll see why. It looks kind of basic, but yeah, there's a reason why this is one of the best ones you can have. And then Enforced Threat you'll mostly use. But if you're doing IC and you're on the final boss in IC, you actually want to take Iron Warrior instead of Enforced Threat because you need that decreased damage taken whenever you're fighting the boss, whenever he binds you. It comes in handy. I use Second Wind and Bladed Rampart as my dailies. This has saved me a number of times, and this is also very, very good. It gives you obviously reduced damage taken, so that's a big key. You want Shield Talent maybe because it increases stamina regen. Um, Another good one is this one. Whenever you use encounter daily power, you restore 5% of your stamina. Quite handy. You can kind of pick or choose. Uh, to be honest, I've been thinking about switching over to steel recovery because it actually has the percentage value there, whereas this is just an increase to the regeneration. Anvil of Doom now places you at the top of the target threat list. This is a must, so it is. You need to have this. It's so useful. For the skills, sorry, this one it increases the threat of your shield throw, very useful. Um, a bull charge, I guess I don't really use bull charge, but I mean it was that or rising tide. Probably should have gone with rising tide to be honest, considering that it's a decent one for threat generation, but I don't use the move anyway. This one yeah, so when I'm not blocking, it decreases damage taken by up to 10% if my crit deflect and awareness are equal. They're not equal, but yeah, it's still kind of handy. Uh, this one not too bad, I guess, as well. Bladed Rampart negates the effect of combat advantage, so it is really good. Determination now allows you blocking of most attacks without stamina, but there's a cooldown, so that's not good. Deep breathing, it's kind of useful. Retaliate, I just chose this one to be honest, but yeah. Um, yeah, did I either or? I mean, this one actually is quite useful as well, but I don't know why I went with this one. Um, yeah, I just decided to go with that one. But that's basically my tank loadout. For my DPS, so obviously I'm not in a tank loadout anymore. So you see my HP has dropped significantly. I haven't done very much work on this. I just kind of let it slide as it, you know, just let it be. I use pretty much the same gear. I use the Mad Mage set, Ebonized Assault Ring, and Striking Ring of the Master. Quite good for melee damage. Everything else, as you can see, is the same. So yeah, the stat changes are a bit wonky. I haven't really done very much on this. I do need to fix it up a little bit because yeah, it's not particularly great. Even in my boons, I've messed up on my boons and I accidentally put this, and I need to change it over to probably crit severity to be honest. Crit severity and call of power. They're very good for DPSs. Even this is very good for DPS. Companions. I mean, I still have the same ones almost, apart from this one here. But that's only because I've been pretty lazy with his DPS move. And then even the mounts are the same. Stamina collar, tunnel vision, mount bolster. Yeah, so yeah, it's yeah, it's not kind of yeah, it's not been worked on, so I can't really give too much advice on the DPS loadout. But what I have, what I've set up, kind of does work for me. It gives me a huge amount of stamina. Oh, actually, that reminds me. Yeah, In powers as well, one thing you need to look at and always remember, and this is one reason why hit points are so important to a tank, is that, let's see, we go into powers, increases threat generated, increases maximum hit points by 40%, and decreases damage dealt by 10%. So you get 10% reduced damage as a tank, but for every hit point for every 4 hit points you get, no, Jesus, that's bad maths. For every hit point you get 40% more. So let's just say that. So basically every 2.2, I think it is, hit points you get another hit point. So it's really really good. Like, that might be bad maths. I don't know. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm fucking tired, so I am. Um, so yeah, just bear with me. But yeah, it's very very good, and it means that I can handle most dungeons as a tank. And later on, just to kind of show the do's and don'ts and how to work them and everything. But probably the next video will be a video on Schultz and just a quick tutorial of what to do and how to do it. But thank you so much for tuning in. Do like and subscribe if you want any more information. I understand that maybe I'm not the best at explaining my build or my loadout, but I will be explaining where to get stuff like companion gear. I might make a quick video on the auction house just to show how to, you know, trade and stuff like that. And I won't give any tips or anything because everything is subjective and certain people might like certain other ways. And if obviously I make a video on one thing, that thing is going to plummet and then I'll have to go find a whole new thing. So it's up to you guys to find your own things in the auction house. But there is a lot of opportunities out there. Let's just say that. But yeah, thanks again. Do like and subscribe as I said, and have a good day.